The Colorado Supreme Court ruled that Donald Trump is disqualified from the 2024 presidential race because he violated the Constitution by engaging in an insurrection against the United States. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. As we've established many times on this show, Trump and his cavalcade of goons are weird. But they're not just weird, they're off-putting. Like, set their politics aside, just as people, can you imagine actually spending any quality time with someone like, say, Ted Cruz? True story. Delta has a policy. If you get seated next to Cruz on a flight, they refund your ticket. This is a guy so off-putting and unpopular, even fellow Republicans tee off on him. Former House Speaker John Boehner once called him Lucifer in the flesh. And Lindsey Graham said if you killed Ted Cruz on the floor of the Senate and the trial was in the Senate, nobody would convict you. And again, those are the reviews he gets from other conservative weirdos. That's like if your restaurant got a review that said inedible, worst food ever, and you looked at the review and it was from Arby's. When Cruz flew to Cancun during a snowstorm, his wife invited the neighbors, and this is true, their neighbors hated them so much they leaked the text to the New York Times. Ted Cruz sucked so hard, his regular-ass neighbors figured out how to get a hold of the New York Times. And of course, he made phone calls in support of Donald Trump after Trump insulted his wife's looks and said his dad killed JFK. It wasn't enough for Trump to say Ted Cruz's dad was a murderer. He had to make him an assassin, and Cruz just took it. If anyone accused my dad of being an assassin, I would laugh in their face, because Larry Myers would make a terrible assassin. For one thing, my dad couldn't sneak up a set of stairs to save his life. When he's coming, you know he's coming. Second, the idea my dad could quietly put a sniper rifle together, give me a break. I mean, he'd have all the pieces out, looking at the instructions, cursing to himself at every step. Ah, the scope doesn't fit. And if he shoots like he golfs, everybody duck. Where were we? All right, my dad rules, Ted Cruz is a weirdo. For example, yesterday at a gathering of fellow conservative weirdos in Phoenix, Cruz decided to become even more off-putting when he said this about Joe Biden.
We have a president of the United States who his team carries extra pairs of pants with him when he travels in case he has poopy pants.
I mean, in Biden's defense, I my pants every time Ted Cruz enters a room. I mean, the man's father killed JFK. Cruz, of course, is doing comedy about Biden's age because he's lucky enough to be supporting this spring chicken over here. Age aside, based on how much ice cream Biden chugs, I'd be surprised if he poops at all. I mean, the guy is a dairy monster. If anyone on the ballot's gonna their pants, my money is on the guy who orders all the fast food. That looks like the promo photo for a new game show called Don't Crap Your Khakis. But poopy pants was somehow not the most pathetic thing Cruz said at the event. He also claimed liberal women are unhappy because liberal men can't satisfy them in bed.
The left is so bad. They're so unhappy. They're so pissed off. And by the way, if you were a liberal woman and you had to sleep with those weenies, you'd be pissed too.
I have a question. What is politics now? Like, for real, what are we doing? Everybody thinks the Ivy Leagues are too woke. Meanwhile, this dude is a senator who went to Princeton and Harvard. He's doing bad stand-up about how old dudes their pants and liberals are bad at. What are we doing? What are we doing? Also, buddy, do you want to know why liberal women in your home state of Texas are mad? It's because they have to leave the state to get abortions for their high-risk pregnancy, you Handmaid's Tale werewolf. Maybe do a tight 5 on that. The next time you're telling jokes at the Chuckle Hut or Johnny Heels or whatever comedy club it is you try your material at. So that's the kind of thing Republicans are focused on at the moment. Although, if I were them, I personally would be slightly more focused on nominating a candidate for president who is eligible to run in all 50 states. Because yesterday, the highest court in Colorado ruled that Donald Trump is disqualified in that state.
Major breaking news, the Colorado Supreme Court removing Donald Trump from the 2024 Republican primary ballot in the state. The court ruling Trump isn't an eligible presidential candidate because of the 14th Amendment's insurrectionist ban.
This is a Civil War era clause of the Constitution. The Supreme Court, the highest court in the state of Colorado, ruling that he should be disqualified. He should be kept off the ballot.
Oh, man, I wish I could have seen Trump's reaction when he heard the news. He probably had
poopy pants.
And when Trump gets that, he doesn't have a backup pair. He just takes the pear from Ted Cruz. Uh-oh, Ted, it happened again. Give me your slacks. But then what will I wear, sir? The shame of your father's crimes. That's right, Donald Trump is disqualified from the ballot in Colorado, which would explain the sudden emergence of a mysterious new candidate who announced he was entering the race last night, a guy named Ronald Bump. Hello, my name is Ronald Bump. I want you to vote for me in Colorado and only Colorado, nowhere else. I'm just a local Colorado native who loves wearing Teva sandals and getting high on legal marijuana while I hit the slopes. The slopes! We love the slopes, don't we, folks? I remember I was in Aspen once when a skier came up to me, big skier, strong skier. Gigantic poles, tears pouring down his face, freezing into icicles on his chin. And he said to me, Mr. Bump, sir, you look great in those Tevas. It would be an honor to hacky sack with you. So Trump is now ineligible to run for president in Colorado on the basis of the 14th Amendment's ban on insurrectionists. Now, if you're not familiar with the language of the 14th Amendment's ban on insurrectionists, don't worry, you're not alone. It's a Reconstruction-era amendment which high school history classes always skip over. For some reason, we all spend like 3 months on the Civil War itself, and then when that chapter is over, your teacher says, so that ended, everything worked out, now let's fast forward to World War II starring Mr. Tom Hanks. The point is, after the Civil War, Congress ratified the section of the 14th Amendment in order to keep secessionists who were disloyal to the United States out of government. And the reason for that is that much like Trump supporters today, Southern states were just immediately sending unrepentant secessionists back to Congress like nothing had happened. As one historian explained, they fight a war over slavery and lose it. They lose in April of 1865. But by December of 1865, they were sending back to Congress people like Alexander Stephens, the former vice president of the Confederacy. It's unbelievable they thought they could do that. They're completely unrepentant, and they are used to exercising power. That's right. The Confederates who seceded and fought a deadly war that tore the country apart tried to act like nothing happened. They basically pulled a George Costanza trying to show up to work after he quit. Now, I know I'm really stretching the imagination here, but let's just think for a second. An unrepentant insurrectionist who tried to overthrow American democracy lost and is trying to weasel his way back into power like nothing happened. Does that sound like anyone we know? The only way this amendment could apply any more directly to Donald Trump is if it said no person shall hold any office who, having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, including any flamboyant land-owning weirdos whose ties are too long and won't stop complaining about toilets that don't flush and windmills killing birds. I don't think anyone can reasonably dispute the fact that Donald Trump is an insurrectionist as defined by the plain text of the amendment. As Pulitzer Prize-winning Civil War historian Eric Foner explained, Trump took an oath to support the Constitution, and now he's given aid to insurrection, and that is the kind of thing the people who wrote the 14th Amendment were trying to avoid. Even though it has only been used a handful of times in American history, it's there. Exactly. This section of the 14th Amendment is the kind of thing you rarely use, but it's there in case you need it, like a fire extinguisher, Paramount Plus. You know, you pay for it, even though you probably don't even remember your password, but you're glad you do, because twice a year you're gonna have your parents over, and they're gonna wanna watch Yellowstone. That's how you keep your dad busy when there's no sports on. You just let him crush on Beth Dutton while you tend the grill, cooking up some steaks and...
Weenies?
Of course. It won't surprise you to learn that Trump supporters seem to have no idea what the 14th Amendment is or what it says. Last night on Fox News, Texas's right-wing Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick threatened to retaliate against Joe Biden by throwing him off the ballot for the crime of being Joe Biden.
Seeing what happened in Colorado tonight, Laura, makes me think, except we believe in democracy in Texas, maybe we should take Joe Biden off the ballot in Texas for allowing 8 million people to cross the border since he's been president.
No, I'm sure Joe Biden is terrified. Now he has no shot to win Texas. But he was so close. Joe Biden could wear a rhinestone belt, snakeskin boots, while throwing a Super Bowl winning touchdown pass for the Cowboys, and he still wouldn't win the state of Texas. Honestly, I'd love if you could take him off the ballot there so we don't have to get our hopes up like we do every year. Maybe you could do us a favor and take Biden off the ballot in Florida, too. Save us all some grief. I mean, every year Florida us, it starts out blue, and you're like, all right, everything's gonna be all right. And then the state turns red, and you're on the couch biting your fingernails down and screaming at your wife, I told you we should have gone door knocking in Pensacola. And then you spend the rest of the night freaking out about the possibility that Donald Trump could become president. This isn't hypothetical. It's a very real scenario that very much happened to me in real life. And that's how I, Seth Meyers, ended up with
Poopy pants.
This has been A Closer Look. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching A Closer Look. And as a reminder, my brother Josh and I have started a new podcast called Family Trips, with the Myers brothers. We hope you listen. We hope you like it. And see you soon.